Hello everyone, my name is Paltanamo and today I'll be presenting on advocating for inclusion in early childhood education in K. In this presentation, I'll highlight on the historical perspective, legislation framework, challenges and benefits, and inclusive practice that supports the diverse learning needs. Defining the inclusion. Inclusion is not just placing the children with a disability in the classroom, but it is achieved when the children experience the meaningful participation and belongings. And inclusion is also a social relational view of disability, where the disability is not a deficit, but it is a mismatch between the children's need and the environment provided. This shift moves us from the medical model of disability to the right-based and the social model of disability. Advocacy of inclusion. Historically, the children with a disability are segregated and hidden from the society, but it has shifted from forget and hide to include and support. However, inclusion may fail if the educators are untrained or there is a limited resources. Here the inclusion is not about the physical access, but it's about the environment, how whether the environment can adapt to meet the children's need. And therefore the advocacy for inclusion suggests that educator to go beyond the compliance and parts and actively challenge the bias and the stereotype, where it suggests that anti-bias education should be included in every curriculum rather than the occasional activity. Legislative framework. The UN Convention Right of People with Disability emphasized on the participation and dignity, where it focused on the full right-based foundation, and the Disability Discrimination Act focused on prohibiting the exclusion. However, without the educate fund and the training, the educator may still struggle to meet the diverse learning. And the early childhood intervention of Australia 2016 suggests that inclusion should be family-centered, cross-disciplinary, and culturally responsive. That is collaboration with the speech pathologist, occupational therapist, and the families rather than the educator themselves. And the benefit of inclusion is that inclusion helps to gain the competence and also increase the peer empathy. And the poor support of inclusion may risk the frustration. Like for example, if the educator lack the training in managing the sensory needs of children with autism, it may affect the quality of inclusion. And inclusion also benefit the families, like it helps to reduce the stigma and build the confidence. But some parents have a concern over the about the educator's capacity. Inclusive practice. First one is cognitive need. Cognitive need is a neurological factors rather than the parenting factors. So by simply enforcing the inclusive in the enforcing the compliance is ineffective. Instead, the educator can break the task into smaller steps and include using the timer, and also break the movement, which will help to the self-regulate of have the children to self-regulate. For example, educator can meet the children with the verbal tools to maintain the focus during the playtime. And physical need is the adaptive equipment and the sitting maintaining a sitting arrangement. For physical need, children can participate equally. For example, modifying the sandpit tools so that children with a limited hand mobility can engage in same activities. And the behavioral needs suggests that to reframe this one as a communication style, where the usual visual schedules, sensor corner, and the social stories are used to reduce the anxiety. For example, children can transition more easily from outdoor play to group meet if the picture card sequence is demonstrated. Anti-bias and the family partnership. Anti-bias education has 4 goals, that is identity, diversity, justice, and activism. And this goal ensure that children question about the stereotype rather than absorbing themselves. For example, educator intentionally discussing the diverse of family structure and language in the group time. And it is also important for the partnership with the families, as the parents bring the invaluable culture and the developmental insights. For example, the educator working with the children with autism may co-design their strategy with the parents, such as using the favorite toys as a transition aid. And to conclude, inclusion in early childhood education is both right and the pedagogical necessity. Literature demonstrates the significance of the inclusion, but it also highlights the risks if the inclusion is unsupported. And with the legislative framework such as the UN Convention, it provides the foundation, but the effective practice also requires the educator to critically reflect, adapt their environment, and collaborate with the families and the specialists. Thus, ultimately, the inclusion is not about the add-on, but it is a philosophy, and the philosophy of equity and empowerment. These are the references I have used for my presentation. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.